Children, good morning. Let's continue the lesson 0R. Okay, and we found that this Bobby had a rocket, player rocket, and he was trying to fly it, but he equalized it with his father's rocket. Okay, and we learned that he found a place under sewer, and there he found where there are many wires. Okay, and we'll continue the story, page number 56. Then he found the big dome where they were building the rocket. It was so sleek and beautiful and shiny that he just stared at it up through the grating in the floor that was for air circulation or something. And now where is he? He has gone to the he's just under the sewer where there is a just like underground. And now he found, when he reached there, he found a big dome. Dome is a place where these rockets are kept ready for taking off. Okay, and where they were building the rocket. It was so sleek. Sleek means smooth and beautiful and shiny that he just stared at it. Up through the grating in the floor. Grating, there is a metal frame with a bars across it used to cover a hole or a window in the floor that was for air circulation or something. And there was a grating and there is a cover, and he opened it and he's seeing it. He did not know it was a moon rocket at first. Not until he had gone back several times to peek up at it. And then one day 2 scientists came walking along close to where he stood, hidden from view. Okay, and this is talking about the previous experience. He did not know it was a moon rocket at first. Actually, this was a moon rocket. Not until he had gone back several times to peek up at it. That means when he went and had a close view, then only he understood that it was a moon rocket. And then one day 2 scientists came walking along close to where he stood, hidden from view. That means they cannot see this Bobby, and that day only he understood that this was a moon rocket. One of them was really his father, who was a great scientist, John Kendall. Bobby almost called out to him, but he caught himself and just listened to them talking. He learned the rocket was going to the moon, and it was funny because even though they spoke in a low voices and didn't give too much away. Okay. Bobby almost called out him, but he caught himself and just listened to them talking. That means he's out of their view, but almost he was about to be caught their attention. He learned the rocket was going to the moon. Okay, from their conversation, which was very conversation in very low voice, he understood that these people are going, or the rocket was going to the moon. And it was funny because even there they spoke in low voices and didn't give too much away. He had known now for 3 days that at 4 o'clock the roof would open and Rome would be turned into a blast pit and the rocket would shoot out through space to the moon. Okay, from their conversation, he understood that he had known now for 3 days. Means before 3 days only he heard it from his father and another scientist that at 4 o'clock the roof would open. That's why at morning he was very anxious when his father got up. Okay, and at 4 o'clock the roof would open and Rome would be turned into a blast pit because they are sending a bomb in this rocket, and the rocket would shoot out through space to the moon. Okay, and it is aiming to the moon. That was all he did know for sure. Neither of the men had said who was going on the first trip to the moon, but Bobby knew father would go. He would have to. After all, father was the second biggest scientist at Buffalo Flats, second only to Professor Schleimer himself, who was very old and wouldn't make the trip. That left father. There probably wasn't anybody else smart enough to go on this mission. Okay, from their conversation, he's assuming many things. That is all he did know for sure. Okay, these are the information that he gathered. Neither of the men had said who was going. In their conversation, they didn't mention who was going on the trip to the moon. But Bobby knew father would go. He knew that father will be going. He would have to. There is no other option. He must go. After all, father was the second biggest scientist at Buffalo Flats. Okay, there is a particular area where the scientists make the research, just like ISRO, and definitely father is the second most or biggest scientist. Definitely there is a chance for father. Second only to Professor Schleimer himself, who was very old and wouldn't make the trip. Why did he imagine that his father will be going? Because the first scientist is very old. He cannot travel. Definitely father will be traveling. That left father. There probably wasn't anybody else smart enough to go on this mission. And he understood that there was no one else if his father is not going to the moon. The idea of going himself had been born the previous day when he found a larger grating in the floor near the rocket and realized that if he was very careful and could climb out of the sphere and duck into the rocket when nobody was looking. Once inside, he was quite sure he would find a place to hide until blast off. Okay. And definitely, how did he get the idea that he is going with the father? The idea of going himself had been born the previous day. He imagined many things and he was calculating a lot of things. The previous day, he planned that he will be going with his father when he found a larger grating in the floor. I told you that is just like a lid near the rocket and realized that if he was very careful, he could climb out of the sphere and duck into the rocket. Definitely he can get into the rocket when nobody was looking. And without getting other sight, he can get into it. Once inside, he was quite sure he would find a place to hide until blast off. Okay, definitely he can get a place in it. That's what he thought. At first, thinking about it, he had been scared. But after he realized how proud his parents would be, he made up his mind. Okay, and first he was scared because he has to hide himself. He doesn't know what will happen. So he was scared. But after that, he thought that if his parents knew that he also had gone to the moon, they will be very proud of him. Definitely, he decided. Taking a deep breath, he opened the grating and got out. It was only 4 steps to the open port of the rocket. There was a little ramp they had used to roll things in, and Bobby's feet touched it lightly as he jumped into the ship. He found himself in some kind of storeroom. It would be a good place to hide, all right. It was full of aluminium barrels, all the same size. He found a little space between 2 rows and sat down and got his breath back. It was very quiet around him, scary quiet, but he set his lips firmly. Okay, taking a deep breath, he opened the grating. Now he's out, means he wanted to skip or slip from his mother, and he's out, just showing them that he is playing with his rocket, which is used to play, and just he's out and he just opened the grating that is a cover, and got out. It was only 4 steps to the open port of the rocket. Port that is the left side of the rocket or spacecraft when facing the front. There was a little ramp they had used to roll things. Okay, in this rocket itself, there was in the left side, there was a ramp, you know, there is a slope area. They had used to roll things in, and here they used for rolling things, and Bobby's feet touched it lightly as he jumped into the ship. Ship here it means the rocket only. He found himself in some kind of storeroom. He reached in a storeroom. It would be a good place to hide, all right. He thought that he will be hiding here in this storeroom so that no one will be finding him. It was full of aluminum barrels all the same size. He found a space between two rows and sat down and got his breath back because no one has to notice him. He sat in between two rows. It was very quiet around him. Scary look. No one is there. That's why it appeared to be very fearful. But he set his lips firmly. Okay. He was going to the moon with father. John Kendall was a little late that night. All these are his imagination almost. He greeted his wife and said, "Well, Myra, why did you see the big skyrocket? Did you see the big skyrocket? How could I miss it, dear? Your supper is in the oven." Okay. And at night, John Kendall came. He's listening to these talks. All these the other things are in his imagination. He greeted his wife and said, "Well, Myra, did you see the big skyrocket? Did you see the skyrocket which we made? How could I miss it here? Okay, anyway, I have seen it. Anyway, take the supper, which is in the oven." John lay back in his easy chair and closed his eyes. He had hoped to stage a little ceremony at the launching, but Washington said no. Washington said, "Simply light the fuse and fire the thing." "Is it still a big secret?" "No, not between you and me at least. We fired an explosion rocket at the moon. It will hit in about an hour and telescope will show a big purple spot when our explosives go off and throw dye all over the place." Okay, and this John Kendall is describing it to his wife. John lay back in his easy chair and closed his eyes. We had hoped to stage a little ceremony at the launching. And that means we planned a ceremony when the rocket is launching. But Washington said no. Washington said that there should not be. They said, "Simply light the fuse and fire the thing. That's enough." Is it still a big secret? Okay, and is it still a secret? Just already in the narrator told that definitely these things will be kept secret by the scientists. Is it a secret? I see loads of fun, no doubt, but what's the purpose? 4th of July on the moon. Sorry, no between you and me at least. This is not a secret, at least I will tell it to you. We fired an explosion rocket at the moon. Okay, means we already have sent fired an explosion rocket at the moon. It will hit in about an hour and telescopes will show a big purple spot when our explosives go off and throw dye all over the place. Dye means that the substance used to color something, dye. Okay, and definitely it will reach in an hour and it will be showing purple color when it reaches there. I see lots of fun, no doubt, but what is the purpose? 4th of July on the moon. Okay, and that means it's going to happen on 4th of July. Oh no. Okay, and it happened on 4th of July. Oh no, if the experiment is success, the next rocket will carry a instead of bomb. Now we have sent the bomb, but if it is, that after many experiments only the rockets will be sent. In the first trip the bomb was sent, but for the next time definitely the people will be sent if it is working. But Bobby had heard, that means he thought that his father is going. But here you see, it's only an experiment. Myra went to the kitchen to see about supper. John called, Where's Bobby? In bed, I suppose." John moved toward the bedroom. Maybe he was still awake. Bobby rolled over. His eyes popped open. Dad, I thought you went. Okay, and he just reached to the bedroom of Bobby and he found that he is there. Then after that he said that I thought that you will be going to the moon. John Kendall sat down on the edge of the bed and tousled his son's hair. No, son, it's old terra firma for me. Did you see the rocket blast? Ah, it was really something. It went to the moon, didn't it? Okay. John Kendall sat down on the edge of the bed and now he sat near his son and tousled meaning is he made his hair untidy by rubbing it affectionately, and affectionate father just rubbing his hair and said, no, I haven't gone. It's the old terra firma. Terra firma means land rather than sea or air used humorously. Okay, that means I cannot go now because it's now the bomb is being set. Did you see the rocket blast? It was really something. It went to the moon, didn't it? I saw it and definitely it went to the moon. That's right. John smiled and thought, try to keep a secret from the children. It just can't be done. How's your moon rocket coming along, son? Okay, he said. Yeah, it went. George smiled and told, try to keep a secret from the children. It just can't be done. And he thought that he will keep it as a secret, but Bobby has understood everything. That's what he thinks. And how is your moon rocket coming along, son? And he has already made a moon rocket. That's a play rocket. And how is it? Pretty good, ye dad. As long as you didn't go, I'm glad I didn't go either. And he said that since you didn't go, I also haven't gone. I am happy. Otherwise, if you have gone, I will be very sad. You were planning to make the trip too? Okay, are you also coming? I got into the rocket and was all set, but I got to thinking about mom. How one of us should stay and take care of her in case anything happened. Okay, and he already had entered in the rocket and then only he thought that his mother will be left alone. No one will be here. If his father is moving, definitely at least he must be here. And that thought made him coming back. Smart thinking, son. Now you get up to sleep. I'll have a little time tomorrow. We'll play some ball. Okay, anyway, he's appreciating the son. That will be fun. John Kendall smiled as he left the bedroom. Children were wonderful. Give them a few old boards and steering wheel and they could build a ship to fly to the moon. What a wonderful dream world they live in. Too bad they had to grow out of it. That means children definitely, they are fond of imagination. Also, if they get something, just like a board, and a wheel, if they get, they will make different things. I think that you also must have made. I don't know how far you will be doing it because these days you are after technologies. So how it will help, I don't know. Definitely the children are fond of doing all these things. He is thinking, John Kendall is telling that they are really, the children are fond of doing all these things. And definitely it will work well. Their imagination, their fancy will work well. And children, the story is actually a science fiction. At the same time, it tells about the imagination of a child. Definitely, you also will have a lot of imagination. And actually, the imagination takes us to outdoor. It has to lead. It has to lead to outdoor. Just like Bobby, we also have to dream. Since as Abdul Kalam says, we should have a dream and we have to pursue the dream. We have great scientists like Abdul Kalam and Kalpana Chawla for our own. So definitely you also have to dream if you have such an aspiration in you, and go forward, or just you have to pursue the dream so that you will reach to the goal. Okay children, with this we will wind up the lesson. Thank you for listening.